understand what you're saying. No.
There it is.
Let's hear it.
Well, let's hear it.
Talk to us. Uh-oh.
Beadle and Decker, taking on sports talk like no one else. Michelle Beadle,
I'm just helping. I'm helping America one by one.
Cody Decker.
I 100% believe in revenge. Revenge is a great thing.
Back to the sports.
Back and ready for more.
Every time I tune them out, they pull me back in.
It's Beadle and Decker. Here's Michelle and Cody.
Hello, everyone. We are back. It is a Monday, a brand new week here, and I'm in sunny, beautiful Southern California. Welcome to Beadle and Decker. Cody Decker with you as always. No Michelle Beadle today, but don't you worry. Michelle will be back here live on Wednesday. So once again, got to get your hands on a pinch hitter. And there aren't a lot of pinch hitters who have their hands on Broadcaster of the Year in their state, let alone three-time Broadcaster of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring back Rob Brown. How you doing, Robert?
Buddy, I could not be better. I get to hang out with my guy, Cody Decker, on the air twice in 3 days. How much good? Listen, I feel so good. I'm trying a new thing. I put a ring on a pointer finger, Deck. Like I feel like I'm young again because I've been hanging out with my guy. How much better could I be, brother?
Couldn't agree more. And we are going to be live with you guys for the next hour. Got lots to talk about. And boy, oh boy, do we have lots to discuss today. We got WBC controversy, baby. And yeah, controversy we're going to get into. We got the Oscars last night, my people. And dude, oh man, I did enjoy me some Oscars. Now, granted, I had to go back and rewatch some because of said WBC. But I ended up watching the entire show. And dude, was it killer and interesting. And I'm looking forward to talking to you about that. We also got some breaking news today in the sports world because not only does the NBA do everything they can to try to take the headlines away from people, and they might have a little bit because we got an official expansion, Robert Brown, an official expansion of two teams coming our way. We'll talk about that in a few. And dude, let's just get right to it. First things first, how you doing, Rob? Like, honest to God, how's life over there in the world of South Carolina for Rob Brown? You got all the jerseys in the background. How's the new hockey gig that you're running, my guy?
It's going really well, brother. Going really well. I appreciate you asking. Life's good, man. So for those of you that have followed me around for a while, and because of me, you're following Deck, and you've seen our work together, lost the radio gig back in November of last year and have been a front office worker for a couple of months now, but it is going spectacular. That being said, we're not giving up on the dream of sitting down in a chair and not wearing pants while we work, as I may or may not be doing right now, especially when somebody as recognizable, prevalent, iconic as Cody Decker comes to call in. Your boy's not going anywhere.
My man. And yes, guys, of course, Michelle Beadle will be back on Wednesday, but those of you that don't know Robert Brown, you should get to know Rob Brown. And I'm not kidding. I've been ungodly lucky, and I've talked about this for years. Like, I've been really lucky with the people I've gotten to work with. Obviously, all you guys that watch me with Michelle all the time, you know what I think about Michelle Beadle. Michelle Beadle is a legend in this industry. She's one of the very best people you could ever dream to work with, let alone know. Craig Carton, a guy who I've always said has meant more to me in my career and possibly life than anybody in the world. I've been very lucky to work with him. All my friends at MLB Network that I've gotten to work with. Keith Irizarry, who I've gotten to work with. Yeah, I can't stress this enough. I'm a real lucky guy, but Rob Brown and I did a show for 4 years for Odyssey, and I'm not kidding. They did not pay us for said show all that reasonably. The reason we did it was because we enjoyed working with each other so much. Rob Brown is one of the very best broadcasters, in my opinion, in the country that you guys need to get your hands on and get a look at. Rob, I'm really thrilled to be talking with you today. Can't wait to talk about all of the cool shit we got going on. But let's just go ahead and start it because Tavio is nailing it, and I can't stress this enough. I agree with you, Tavio. That shit was not a strike. Not a strike. Not a strike. Can't stress enough. Not a strike. Do you know what a strike is? That wasn't one of them. Ladies and gentlemen, we got controversy here in the WBC because last night, listen, I'm not trying to take anything from the USA. USA won the game. It was a hell of a game, by the way. Holy hell, Rob Brown. The atmosphere, the intensity of this game, I was on the edge of my seat this entire ball game. And I mean that from start to finish. Caminera's home run to get the lead going, the tie-up, the go-ahead home run, the U.S. getting out of situation after situation. Phenomenal game, with the exception of a couple of big problems, dude. Now, I'm going to point out this one first. Now, Rob Brown, I think you can agree with me that in the eighth inning, when you're leading off the eighth inning, a strike three call, which even if it's a bad call, I'm not going to say that's the most consequential thing in the world because there was a strike 3 call on a 1-2 pitch from Whitlock to Juan Soto. And as you can see right here in the photo, you see that little ball mark down there underneath the strike zone? Yes, that is where the ball crossed the plate. Yes, that is about 3 inches lower than the strike zone. Yes, that was called strike 3. Now, I'm not going to point at this saying this was the big game-changing moment of the game. Nobody on, nobody out to lead off the inning. Juan Soto gets screwed on a 1-2 pitch. Now, granted, that is Juan Soto. So you could make the argument, yeah, you want to give Juan Soto another pitch. Sure, I will give you that. I don't think that's the big thing that happened yesterday, Rob Brown, because my former teammate Perdomo was at the plate with the tying run at third base and Mason Miller not handling the strike zone well. He was kind of all over the place. He already had 1 wild pitch in the inning, and it should have been 3 if it weren't for Will Smith playing hockey goalie back there with a slider bouncing on the grass, not to mention 102 miles per hour fastball all over the place. So you have a situation 3-2 in the bottom of the 9th inning with the tying run in an elimination game happening. Rob Brown, what does that look like to you?
I have done scientific research on this, Cody Decker, and not only have I done the research, but you have been so kind as to illuminate the world with a green circle to show that is, and I believe the technical term is a ball.
Dude, there have been, and this is from Codify specifically. I want to give them all the credit in the world because Codify Baseball went ahead and gave us this stat. There have been 322 called third strikes in the last 2 World Baseball Classics. This was the lowest of them all by over, and get ready for this, 2 inches. This was the lowest strike 3 call by over 2 inches. Now, that's just unforgivable. And those of you that are looking at the umpire and blaming him, I don't blame you entirely, but I'm going to give the guy a little bit of leeway here. Mason Miller is sitting at 101 miles per hour with an outrageous amount of movement. His slider is at 93 miles per hour, and it's out of the zone. You simply can't see that if you're an umpire. I don't know what else to tell you, but don't worry, Rob Brown. Guess what we have? An ABS system that we are launching this year. Not in the WBC, though. The most consequential call in this tournament so far just dictated a game. That would have been a winning run on first base with Fernando Tatis Jr. at the plate, with the tying run at third base. Would they have won? I have no goddamn idea. I would have loved to have found out, though.
So a couple of responses. The first is to what you just said, Dak. I want to address that one first. You said when you're back there, and you got a guy like Mason Miller flaming it in at a $101, and then remember, the umpire doesn't know which pitch is coming next. So if he goes 101 to a 93 slider or an 87 changeup, the ump is guessing what's coming next, just like the guy in the batter's box is. And Decker said, you can't see that. Brother, that is argument number 1 about why we just institute the technology everywhere it can. Like anywhere that we can institute this technology without breaking a program, we should do that for that exact reason, because Mason Miller could throw it 280 miles an hour on the 4-seamer. And a robot with a camera can tell you exactly where it was down to the millimeter. We've already seen it in spring training. So that's the number 1 argument. Number 2, you mentioned, Dak, correctly, how good of a game it was. I sat in this chair watching that 65-inch television with 4 or 5 of my guys in a Discord chat last night. We were having the time of our lives, butthole puckered tight enough to turn coal into diamond because of how good that game was late. And while, yes, I was as red, white, and blued out as anybody else was last night, it stinks to have a game that good, that is that much, that is that worthy of our emotional investment the way that we did, end on that call. It just stinks. And don't get me wrong, I'm as mad about that call as I would be mad about the same call being made in a 0-0 game in the 2nd inning. I'd be mad about that call too, because it's a little bit of a mistake, I get. My man, that ball was 6.5 inches below the strike zone, and it ended the game. Now, I had somebody say to me earlier, Cody Decker, well, it was a strike back in the 6th inning. Well, then it was wrong then, too. It was wrong then, too. That doesn't make it better.
It's not an argument. Everyone has been losing me today because I've been getting in arguments on Twitter. And I'll actually read you one real quick. And listen, it's not that this guy is entirely wrong. It's just a full-on difference of opinion on where baseball is and where it should be going. Because if you're one of those guys going, well, human error is part of the game, why? That's fucking stupid. We can get all the calls right. If we can get the calls right, which, by the way, we have replay implemented into the game, we're doing this ABS challenge system, then why don't we just get it all right? It's just maddening to me that we're still doing this. It is nonsense. But but once again, my argument with this guy, which I wouldn't call as much of an argument, it was just we were going back and forth. Now, this guy and I disagree. We're not necessarily arguing, but he's trying to say that's not the reason that they lost, and he points out the fact that they left guys on base for 5 innings. You're right. They did do that. They were 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position. That being said, the winning run getting on first base in the bottom of the 9th with the tying run on third base with Fernando Tatis Jr. coming to the plate with a pitcher that already has 1 wild pitch in the inning and nearly 2 other passed balls in the inning. I don't know what to tell you. That is the most consequential thing that's ever happened in the WBC, and that's unfortunate. That was arguably one of the best WBC games we've ever had, and it ended like this as opposed to continuing the way it should. So I pointed that out to him. Then he responds, the same Tatis that K'd on 3 pitches in the dirt? Oh, my God. Dude, is this a joke? Is this a joke? Tatis Jr., are we pretending that he's a bad baseball player? Then he says it's reality. The umpire had 0 to do with the loss. He made a bad call to end the game. I'd say he had a pretty hefty hand in the loss. And this guy, by the way, to give him full credit, he runs a baseball team that's like a high school team. And I was trying to explain to him, buddy, this isn't high school baseball. This isn't a lesson for high school baseball players. This is professional baseball player where millions upon millions of dollars are dictated. This is a tournament where people are wearing their national pride on their chest, and they mean it. And I mean, they mean it in a way that I don't think anybody meant it the way in the Olympics just about a month ago. This has been some deep, deep stuff. Bro, get rid of all this human error shit. And if your argument is it's part of the game, it shouldn't be, because it doesn't have to be. Major League Baseball's already proven this to you because we're getting a lot of calls right, and they're implementing the ABS system this year. I would like to make this argument, Rob Brown, and I'd love your thought on this. Bro, do you think this is the best thing that could have happened to Major League Baseball, though? Because this is just like Major League Baseball saying, well, don't worry, we already fixed it. Check out our brand new toy, the ABS challenge system, which I, again, think is stupid because you could just get the goddamn call right.
Let me address the 2 things you just said. Number 1, is it good for Major League Baseball? No, it's great for Major League Baseball because they could say, imagine that was game 7 of a World Series and that happened. And imagine instead of, because I do think, and I could be wrong about this, Deck, I do think we're having a different conversation today if the teams were flipped in that spot, right? Like if it was Team USA that had a man on third, tying run.
Could you imagine?
Third, one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball gets called out by a pitch across his shin bones. We'd be having a different conversation. But what I really want to address is the concept of, and I feel like I've done this a million times in my career, and I'm glad now, I'm happy now because I'm at a point where I realize baseball is moving past it and they don't care anymore, and that is good. But this concept of the human element or human error, guys, the human error, and I refuse to call it human element because it's error. It's wrong. It's just wrong calls. You are literally making the argument that bad calls make a sport better. That I need you to all, if you are pro human error, I need you to look me virtually in my eyeballs and tell me that you recognize that your argument is, I think bad calls make a game better. And then I want you to really stew on that and circle back around to me after the show. But here's the thing, Deck, I would make the argument human error does make the game better. When a fielder misreads a ball and can't make the catch, or when the pitcher hangs a slider right out over the middle, or when the catcher can't get a knee down to make a stop on a pass ball, or when a shortstop flips it over the second baseman to turn 2 and he gets the transfer wrong and it blows up a double play and it leaves the other team with a man on third and a run. That's human error. At the end of the day, as I've said on this show and every show I've ever been on, Deck, I have never bought a ticket to watch a coach. I have never bought a ticket to watch an owner own. I've never watched a ticket to buy a general manager general manage. I've never bought a ticket to do anything other than see players play. So at the end of the day, the only error that should have an impact on the final score of a game is the players. Their error or non-errors should be what dictates the game. And I cannot to this day understand how somebody could look me in the face and say, I thought it was exciting that a pitcher got a strikeout on a pitch that was clearly outside of the zone and ended a baseball game with a terrible call because I like the human element. I would bet half those people, if they walked into McDonald's and they asked for a large fry and they got a small fry, would absolutely rip the hell out of the cashier. They wouldn't go, well, human error makes lunch better. Don't be an a-hole, man.
It's a phenomenal way of putting it. Yes. Tavio says, I hate bad calls. Tuck rule has haunted me for years. Haunted you? Oh, fuck you, Tavio. Oh, fuck you. Haunted you. This life of mine is a nightmare because of that goddamn call. Anyways, Baby Tavia just shares my pain. All right, well, let's stay on the WBC because there was something that was said yesterday that I want to look up the direct quote because I do think it's important. Aaron Judge, having a good tournament, captain of the USA team, but he did say something about the World Baseball Classic that I don't entirely disagree with him. He basically said that this is bigger and better than the World Series. Now, I hear what you're saying, and I want to have a conversation about this because I did tweet something about this yesterday. However, before I get to that, do you want Aaron Judge, if you're a Yankee fan, saying this? Because Judge has been in one World Series. He made the error that led to a Dodger fifth inning. And, dude, you're the captain who isn't even in the best team in the American League East right now. And you're playing in a tournament not wearing the pinstripes. And you're saying this is more important than your $350 million deal with the Yankees to go to the World Series. I hear the sentiment because I don't necessarily disagree with the sentiment. I'll get into that in a second. But if you're a Yankee fan, and if I'm a Yankee fan, I don't want to fucking hear this shit.
I get that. And I can make peace with the understanding that if I was a Yankees fan, that is the emotional reaction that I would have. The emotional reaction would be like, buddy, come on. You can't say that, right? Mm-hmm. But I also have to say, Deck, and I think this is where you were driving, I completely understand where Aaron Judge is coming from, dude.
So do I.
I really do. Because if you go win a World Series for the New York Yankees, you're winning a World Series for, and it's more than 1/30th of MLB fans, but you're winning a championship that let's say 6% of the country has an emotional investment in. Mm-hmm. Every baseball fan in the United States has an emotional investment in Team USA. And oh, by the way, well over half the fans in the Dominican Republic are baseball fans. That game mattered to them a hell of a lot last night. Ooh. Venezuela, Cuba, look at the Italians right now. Most of those guys aren't Italian, but they're playing for their Italian heritage and their lineage and where they came from and their family and all that.
Can I say something about that real quick? They are not the USA B team. Those of you that are trying to make that narrative, I can't stress this enough. And by the way, Pasquantino is a really good baseball player. Caglione's this team's filled with really good ball players. Not one of the player on this team would have been on the USA D, E, or F team. So get that out of your lexicon immediately. They're just a bunch of grinders busting their ass and playing some great baseball. Because I always tell people this. If you're in Double-A, you can be in the big leagues. Double-A baseball players and big league baseball players are not far off. It's a combination of opportunity and just patience.
No, I agree. And again, that to me kind of goes in the direction of Aaron Judge, right? Mm-hmm. Because think about it this way. If you're hell, we've seen how many guys out there throw in for different countries. And it's like, yeah, this guy's been a minor leaguer for 7 years and he made it to middle A ball or whatever. And this is his chance. And now all of a sudden they're up to Tugboat Wilkinson for Canada. Are you kidding me? Where can I get a Tugboat jersey? My man's been a mid-level professional baller his whole career. And he goes up there and he's making Aaron Judge look silly. I mean, he's up there throwing against the best hitters on the American roster and gets out I think he went 5 or 6 outs and gave up 1 hit to this lineup. That's huge for him and doing it representing his country across the chest. I get what Aaron Judge is saying, and I do tell people, Deck, all the time, and I think he would do the same. One of the most difficult realizations for sports fans, and I mean this at every level, but certainly at the professional level, is recognizing that just like all of us as fans love our teams differently, we feel differently, it's subjective. Guys playing the game, they're the same way, right? Like that you end up being a Seattle Mariner. You may not have been a Mariner. You probably don't. For a lot of these guys, it's just the job. It's just the thing that they do. It's what this happens to be what I'm good at. I happen to get lucky enough to fall into a spot where I can do it. Maybe I love baseball. Hell, some of them maybe don't. It's just the job. If you're on this team or any team in this tournament, you're on this team and in this tournament because you want to win the sumbitch. Like, that's why you're here. You don't have to say yes to this. This is optional. You want to win it. So what I would say is, Yankee fans, far be it from Rob Brown to defend Aaron Judge anywhere ever for any reason, but I will do it here. Relax. If you really think about it, what he said makes sense, and it does not mean that winning a World Series is unimportant or not a priority to him. He's saying it, I think, Deck, from the emotional scope of what the WBC is. It is more important there, and frankly, I agree with him.
I don't disagree either. But I'm just saying that the sentiment definitely is going to piss off some people. That being said, I did say this yesterday, and I would love your take on this because it's kind of actually, believe it or not, kind of falls in line with exactly what we were talking about, what Aaron Judge is actually talking about. And this is what I tweeted. This game's atmosphere is electric. Starting to think we revisit exactly what the World Series is. Dude, there might be a future in 10 years, 20 years, that the World Series is no longer the World Series. Can you see a world where maybe the World Series is this after Major League Baseball champion is crowned?
Yeah, you and I, and Deck, I can tell you with great certainty that you and I have had this discussion many times on Saturdays gone by about expansion. And you look, I'll tell you what the WCBC did and really has done the last, 6 years, 9 years running now, that baseball has, I think, gotten right more than the NFL. I would argue maybe even more than the NBA, is not just spreading the love of their game to other parts of the world, Deck, but then providing the other parts of the world a foundation to display that love of their game elsewhere. Like I know, for instance, that the NBA is really big in China, right? Like Yao Ming had the number one selling jersey for a hot minute when he was doing his thing in the league. I know it's big. But what has the NBA done to give somewhere for them to grandstand? Like, they just have the Olympics. Like, that's it. They let them do the Olympics every 4 years. And they're trying it now, obviously, with the All-Star game being, U.S. versus the rest of the world, which, for the record, if the boys would have gone hard for 4 quarters, was honestly, I think, a great concept. You just got to have the players buy in. Baseball's like, we're going to give you that platform, that foundation. And the thought here would be, if there's a billionaire here in the States who's like, yeah, I want to own a team, and we feel like with 30 teams across, we've saturated it, and Major League Baseball looks and goes, what if we propped up a Dominican team and a Venezuelan team and a team in Argentina and Chile? What if we had a South American league? And then what if we had an Asian league with South Korea and China and Japan? And we allowed them, Deck, I don't know that we'd ever get to the point where they would be not feeder leagues for MLB, because at the end of the day, MLB wants Shohei Ohtani to leave Japan and come to the States, no doubt. But what if it was a little bigger? Do I ever think we're going to have our World Series champs taking on the Asian winner and the South American winner and the Eastern Europe? No, I don't think it'll ever get there. Do I think we could get to the point where we maybe have like a summer league that is international and that's used as the feeder league? And maybe for us baseball fans, that's kind of a secondary league we can enjoy. I think that's a real possibility, because the one thing billionaires want is more money. And if I know I can sell out the Tokyo Dome 35, 60 times instead of 4 or 5 for an exhibition at the beginning of the year, why would I not say yes to that?
I hear what you're saying. I just don't see a world where Major League Baseball supports their own competition. And now that we're seeing what international play can be, I don't know if Major League Baseball might be signing their own death warrant with that. If they create an international league, it's going to get more ratings than the national league that we currently have. I don't know. I hear what you're saying, because it would be awesome. That would be a way to revisit kind of the minor league system, or just an offshoot of the minor league system. But it's an interesting idea. I'm sure it's been discussed. But real quick, we are not done with the WBC. We, of course, have ourselves Italy versus Venezuela tonight. Italy, the feel-good story of this tournament. Venezuela, a team horrifically under discussed, a team chock full of superstars, a team that's it's got a couple of future Hall of Famers on it, and Italy, just a bunch of grinders playing their asses off, taking a bite out of the big cats. I love it. I got Venezuela, and I would love a Venezuela versus U.S. final, because that'll be a hell of a game. But I've also picked against Italy 3 of the last 3 games. I don't know, man. What do you think? What do you got in this one? Aaron Nola on the bump tonight.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. I mean, listen, Aaron Nola is a guy that, Deck, you and I have had a complicated relationship with over the years. We've been talking baseball together, because there's times where Aaron Nola looks like a GOAT, and then there's times where you're like, what happened to Aaron Nola, and what did you do with him? This is an opportunity for him to shine, and I think much like last night, Deck, I think this game is as explosive as the lineup is for Team Venezuela, as consistent as the lineup, maybe not high powered, but as consistent as they have been disciplined from the plate as Italia is. I think much like last night, this game really is going to come down to, I wouldn't even say pitching, Deck. I really think it comes down to 5th inning and on pitching, right? It comes down to setup and closers. It's who blinks first. And Skeens blinked last night. Obviously, the Americans turned around and got it back, and then it just came down to whose back-end pitching was better down the stretch, and it just happened to be Team USA leading up to Mason Miller. I feel like tonight's got a lot of potential to go that same way. That being said, unlike last night, where I've got a Team USA team who, again, red, white, and blue till I die, sure. God dang, it's the most boring team in the freaking semifinals, Team USA.
Oh, my
no character,
God.
No emotion. Versus Venezuela, who it's like Venezuela and Italy doing shots of espresso or hitting the dances on the sideline. I will say this. I was excited about Team USA because, hey, that's my squad. That's my boys. Let's go. But, brother, tonight might be the most, like, high-flying WWE-looking baseball game we get out of this whole tournament, and I am freaking here for it.
Yeah, by the way, I'm wrong. Apparently, Italy swapped out Lorenzen for Nola, which I did not know. That's a hell of a pitcher as well. I guess they're trying to line it up for Team USA if they win this game. It's a move. But, listen, Lorenzen's a hell of a pitcher. That's going to be a good game tonight. Dude, I would love it. It would be a lot of fun. But can I really quickly just touch on that real quick? And real quick, here is the final bracket of where we're currently standing. Of course, USA in the finals. We'll find out the winner tonight on FS1. Moving forward, and of course, the final game will be on Fox. Listen, I'm sorry, you just said something that really sparked something in my mind, and I got a little sidetracked there. Oh, no, it was so good, too. I was really excited to talk to you about it. It was Venezuela.
We were talking about how these two teams are actually fun to watch.
Thank you. Can we talk about the pre-games that is what is with our American culture and our desperate need for, like, war shit? Like, we got over here Venezuela just having dance parties in the dugout. We got the Dominican having singing and dance parties in the clubhouse. We got Italy with espresso shots, just having the time of their lives. And U.S. is just sitting there bringing in war heroes, telling them about war. Could somebody fucking help me? Why is this American team so unfun? What is wrong with us?
I had I spent a very long time coaching Little League and middle school league baseball back in my day. And I had a falling out. And this was actually towards the end of my career. And this became more regularly occurring to the point that it drove me, who I genuinely enjoyed coaching youth baseball. It drove me out of it. But it was these interactions with parents. And I remember one specifically from a baseball dad, Deck, who told me that, and I can remember, I could see the guy's face to this day, who told me he did not appreciate the fact that I was teaching these kids that it was more important to have fun and love the game than it was to win. He was mad at the fact that I was encouraging 8 and 9-year-old kids to have fun playing the game, to enjoy playing the game, to learn to love the game of baseball more than I was grinding out that winning matters more than everything else. I don't know what it is that we have developed, and it's obviously prevalent in Team USA baseball right now. We have developed this mentality that everything has to be combative, and it's got to be angry, and it's got to be, I want to murder and kill you. And it's like, guys, I get that there is some level of, because I'm competitive as the next guy, when you get into the heat of competition of like wanting to destroy the competition. I get it. Mamba mentality. That's great. Whatever. But good Lord, dude, it's just kind of hard for me to see these dudes with their front face towards enemy landmine t-shirts, Cal Raleigh, who I love, by the way. Like, Dumper, that's not your personality. Brother, I watched you at Florida State. I know that you want to have fun playing baseball. Quit pretending, my guy, when I'm watching Ronald Acuna Jr. and I'm watching Ozzie Albies and I'm watching all these other dudes on other teams who are like having a ball. And it's weird because I feel like that Squidward meme where I'm like looking through the window at everybody outside having a really good time. And I'm like, man, I wish my team would do that. I wish I had a reason to get up and boogie in the bro cave as opposed to sitting here like it's a life or death struggle for humanity in the ninth inning. Like, come on, guys, loosen up.
It's something, dude. I don't get it, but listen, to each his own, I guess. All right, let's switch it away from sports and baseball for a minute. Let's talk about something else that took place last night. Ladies and gentlemen, we had the Oscars last night, and I did watch all of the Oscars. I had to go back and watch a lot of it. There were ups, there were downs. One massive up, let's just go ahead and say it. Conan O'Brien should host everything ever. Conan O'Brien is the greatest. I love Conan O'Brien. Boy, oh boy. There is something that there's a mild controversy going on right now, and I'd love your take on this. Did you see the presentation of an award by Captain America and now the newly minted Dr. Doom?
I did not, because I got to tell you, and I know we're going to talk about this in a minute, so I won't go too far down this path yet until we get there, Deck. I saw something about it. I heard something about it, but I have not seen it yet because I did not watch a second of the Oscars.
Buddy, crickets. There is a chance, and I know the Oscars usually wouldn't be the place to actually say this, but there's a chance, there's a real chance that the MCU might be dead, because the lack of chemistry that these two performed on stage together was painful. It was cringe, dude. Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans on stage should never be cringe ever. It was cringe as fuck, as the kids would say. Bro, it was painful. And there was other interesting things that happened in the night. I'll use one of them for my shiggles, but let's just go with this. Tough night for Timothée Chalamet and the ping pong movie that literally no one really all that much liked. Got a lot of hits on Chalamet for his comments about ballet. He got made fun of a ton. There's something I got to tell you to go watch, though, dude. And I mean this. There is a moment of last night's Oscars that didn't just steal. It might have been one of the best things I've seen on a live Oscars show in years. Lie to You, the song from Sinners, was performed live. And you've seen how that was done in the movie. And I've said this a dozen times. That scene, Lie to You, in the theater, watching how they were going through years and decades of music history and how the ceiling was on fire. And that beautiful, beautiful shot, I thought was just an astonishing piece of filmmaking. They did it live, dude. They did that scene that I thought was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in IMAX live. And not only was it good, dude, it might have been better than the movie. I was blown away by that performance, which obviously won the Oscar.
So this is I guess it's a kind of a good segue to what I was thinking here, because Deck brought up as we were doing the pregame routine and getting ready to go on the air, and he asked did I watch the Oscars, and I was like, nah, because I love movies. I do. I love movies. My wife and I love movies. We watch movies all the time. I pay for every single movie streaming service because I just enjoy movies. But I can't be bothered to watch these Oscar events. I can't be bothered to watch the award shows. And for the record, same with music. I'm a music guy. I got 4 electric guitars on the wall right here. Deck's seen my band play. Like, yes, I love music, but I don't really watch the music awards, the Grammys anymore either. And I can't tell, Deck, because I think there's 3 possible reasons I don't watch. Now, I'll circle back around. Like, now that you've told me about this, I'll watch that. I want to go see what Downey Jr. and Captain America did, because I almost kind of wonder, was it a bad effort at marketing, considering they've been like this for so many years, and now they're bad guy, good guy. Like, was this an
No,
attempt
buddy,
to build that?
buddy.
I don't know.
Buddy. No, you're going to watch this and you're going
Okay.
to be like dumbfounded. You're like, dude, what is going on?
Okay, fair enough. So I'll go back and I'll watch highlights. When people like Deck tell me, hey, you got to see this, whatever, I'll check it out. But I can't be bothered to watch them anymore. And I feel like there's one of three reasons, and I can't put my finger on which one is correct. It is either A, it's a movies problem. And while there have been some good movies like Sinners that have come out, I feel like there's been a little bit of a lull in terms of Hollywood creativity when it comes to putting out great new movies.
Mm-hmm.
Option number two is it's a celebrities problem, because while I appreciate artists and music and acting and whatever, I do feel like sometimes they get a little high sniffing their own buttholes with about how great they are, right? Like, and it, for those of us out here, it's off-putting. And this is from somebody, I'm woke, man. I'm woke. I'm new age. I'm liberal, progressive. And even for me, I'm like, you guys are kind of pretentious douchebags more often than you're not. Like, some of us are out here paycheck to paycheck trying to get by, and you guys are all patting yourself on the back. Or the third option, Deck, is, man, I just turned 41 like 2 weeks ago, and maybe I'm just a crotchety old fart head now, and I just don't get it anymore. But, like, it has been a few years since it's been like, all right, babe, get the popcorn, the Oscars are on. I just can't be bothered anymore. And I don't know if it's a me problem, a movie problem, or a celebrity problem, or if I'm missing something else.
I will admit this was a lack. I mean, right here, Scott PA says 2025 was a great year for films. I firmly, honestly disagree. But that's just my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right. Sinners was a movie that really, 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 to say the least, really captured my imagination, and I thought it was an astonishing movie. Another Academy Award that was won yesterday was for Weapons. Amy Madigan won an Oscar, and yes, I agree. Great for horror to get some representation. You don't see horror movies get a lot of representation these days, and that was very awesome as well. But I'll admit, dude, it was a lackluster year. Like, Frankenstein is a movie I should have been all over. For some reason, I had no interest in going to see this new Frankenstein. Train Dreams, I only heard about this movie 2 weeks ago. There just wasn't any movies this year that caught my imagination. And part of that is a me problem, I'll admit. And it's probably that aging that I'm doing right now. But I would like to get back out there and see each one of these movies. I want to get inspired again by cinema. That being said, one thing that was really huge, Michael B. Jordan winning Best Actor. I think it was deserved because I thought both performances as Smoke and Stack were astonishing. Watching him kind of grow into the actor that he is now, you know, I first saw him. I mean, wherever it is you first saw him, a lot of people first saw him in Chronicle. A lot of people first got their look at him in Friday Night Lights. For me, I remember him from The Wire as a young kid going, oh, this kid's pretty good. And I remember, you know, I never really watched Friday Night Lights, but I was aware of it. You know, it was the movie for me in him. And by the way, another big winner last night, Ryan Coogler, director of Sinners, who won for, I believe, Best Screenplay. I can't stress this enough, my guy. Michael B. Jordan, his first collaboration with Ryan Coogler was a movie called Fruitville Station, a movie I would likely never watch again because it's a very tough watch. There's a scene in that movie where the camera is just on Michael B. Jordan's face, and the range of emotions that are going through his eyes in just a 5-second span is when I sat down going, this kid's probably the best young actor alive. And he proved it this year. And if you're not happy for Michael B. Jordan, especially a child actor that's grown so well in front of all of our eyes to be the guy he is now, dude, I don't know what to tell you. That was awesome to see. The standing ovation he got, him there with his mom, of which he's never been quiet about how much he loves his mom. Just badass. I loved it. Great speech. Great night for him.
Yeah, I'm a Michael B. Jordan fan. In fairness, this is going to be the dumbest thing I say, but stick with me. Like, the Creed movies won me over. I had zero intention of liking the Creed movies. In fact, I don't do this very often. I went into the Creed movies wanting to dislike them for what I said earlier. I think we have a lack of creativity and ingenuity in Hollywood right now. It's like we keep cranking out remake after remake, and very rarely are we getting like, here's a new intellectual property that is good enough to be a Best Picture candidate. I wanted to hate the Creed movies because you're taking a series from my childhood that mattered a lot to me, and you're just doing baseless, needless spin-off years later. And then I watched it, and I was like, damn, this is kind of good. It's kind of a good set of movies. So big Michael B. Jordan guy. He's never going to be, he's never going to be Michael Jordan. But when you get,
what's funny you asked that because we got something coming up about that.
Oh,
Keep
I know.
going.
I saw it, and I'm ready to set it up.
Well, let's do it then. Let's just do it really quick before we do it. Ryan Coogler, just so we're all clear, a director that to this point has not come close to missing Fruitville Station, Creed, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Sinners. Holy hell. What a thing. All right, guys, let's do it. No Shane, no problem. It's time for Shane's Quick Hitters. All right, we're going to keep it simple, Rob Brown. We're going to go with the first question of the day on today's Quick Hitters, and you kind of alluded to it, and I'm looking forward to getting back to you on it, but let's go with this one first. Is Conan O'Brien the best host there is in the world? And listen, I am a Conan stan. I have never been quiet about my love for Conan. Michelle and I ran into Conan at SiriusXM, and it was one of the few times I was as close to a starstruck as I humanly got. I can't think of anyone that is a better host than Conan O'Brien because there's something about Conan O'Brien that no one else really. Conan's like universally loved. That's really hard to do. Jimmy Kimmel is not universally loved. Jimmy Fallon's borderline not loved at all. There are so many people that have hosted things that are just like, so many people have so much bullshit to say about him. Conan O'Brien is weirdly just loved by everybody. And you know why? Because no one takes the piss out of Conan O'Brien more than Conan O'Brien. And that's what I love about him. It's not just that he's funny. It's that he makes fun of himself. It's because he kind of just gets it. And again, when I met Conan O'Brien at SiriusXM, walked by him, and all I said to him was like, dude, I'm a huge fan of your work. And he looked me right in the eye and he just said, huh, he must be talking about someone else, and continued walking. I'm like, God, I love Conan. God, I love Conan. And once again, Conan O'Brien was fantastic last night, despite the fact that was the most stuck up, sticks up their asses crowd I've ever seen or heard in my life. So many people just terrified to giggle or laugh or have a good time. It kind of goes back to what Rob was saying. Hollywood needs to stop taking itself so fucking seriously.
Yeah, it's first off, I will say this. I was not a big Conan O'Brien guy back in the day when I was a little bit younger. I in fact, many times made fun. I was like, oh, Conan, tell a mediocre joke, shake your hair around a bunch, talk about how tall you are and move on. It wasn't for me. But the older I've gotten, the more I've like genuinely learned to appreciate Conan O'Brien and who he is and how he tells his jokes. And as somebody who is wildly self-deprecating, because I promise you, nobody hates me more than I hate myself. I'm like the anti-Terrell Owens in this case. I appreciate that about Conan, and I appreciate the fact that he is willing to tell those jokes and lean on the fact that it's a pretentious crowd a little bit. I don't get it. Guys, like, you're actors. You're good actors. That's why you're all in the room. But like, you're actors. Relax. You're not making the world a better place by your acting. Maybe you act in a movie that is well put together and it tells a story that kind of changes how people think. But that's not you. You didn't do that. It's a wee bit on that side. And the more I'm sitting here thinking about, I said there were 3 possibilities. One of them is the celebrities problem. The fact that Conan had some of these jokes, and again, I haven't watched it, so I'm leaning on Cody Decker, but when it comes to entertainment, nobody I trust more. Mm-hmm. I get the impression he kind of told some jokes that kind of knocked the pretentiousness, and those people don't want to laugh. And then you add in, I do think there's a little bit of a fear, and maybe it's founded. I don't know. I'm not a celebrity. Nobody's ever given a damn about me enough for it to matter. But a fear of like, oh, if I get caught on camera laughing at a joke that a day or two later people decide is un-PC, then I might get myself in trouble. And I'm not saying that there's no merit to that. I'm saying, man, if Conan's up there telling jokes, laugh, dude. It's allowed. Like, they're allowed to be funny. They're allowed to be funny. I will say this. Love Conan O'Brien. There are 2 people that I genuinely love as hosts right now. One of them, we just had the comment on the screen. I had to tell you, I don't know where the hell Nikki Glazer came from, but just make her the host of everything right now, because Mean Celebrity Burn Comic is like way up on the list for me. And
no, I think she's great over at the Golden Globes. I don't think she's for the Oscars.
I guess this is where Rob's uncultured swine. Okay, it's like, how's it different? It's like movie actors and TV actors. It's whatever.
No, because the Golden Globes is like the party where everybody's drinking and everybody's having a good time. Like
Then
Ricky
give me
Gervais,
that
Ricky
do 'em
Gervais
all that
turned that into a roast fest for
Just do
4
them all
different
that
ones.
way then. They should just all be that then.
No,
Second
Hollywood
one-
would never do it to the Oscars.
Second one, and I know he's fallen off, and I know he's not the guy he used to be, and I know he's had some whatever. But, man, if you're telling me you didn't have fun those 3 years that Ricky Gervais was taking the blowtorch to everybody, I got nothing for you.
So good. It was actually 4 years. He did it 3 years in a row, took like 5 years off, came back for another one. And, yeah, Ricky Gervais is phenomenal at what he does. But I'm with you on – I like Nikki Glaser, but, like, it's just different than Conan O'Brien. I think Conan O'Brien is more of a good time. Nikki Glaser is there for – you're going to get a lot of clicks on a lot of jokes she said and see if people laughed or not. It's all good. Like, it's just what your preference is. I like them both personally. All right, question number 2. What does Michael B. Jordan need to accomplish to become the most famous Michael Jordan? What does the guy got to do? Does he got to win 5 Oscars? Is that what he needs to do? If he wins 5 Oscars, is that as good as winning 5 NBA championships? Rob Brown, what say you?
Deck, you know me. I love participating in the back and forth fun conversations for radio. The correct and real answer is he can't. You can't do it. Here's how I know that. Because not terribly long ago, my 7-year-old nephew, he's 7 years old. For those of you real bad at math, he was born in the late 20-teens. All right, I was born in 1985, late 20-teens. Mm-hmm. My little nephew, when I was asking him what he wanted for his birthday coming up, told me not 3-4 weeks ago, he wants a Michael Jordan jersey and a pair of Jordans to wear with it. All right, this kid was not alive for a single professional shot of Michael Jordan's, not even the bullshit Wizards run. All right, not alive for a shot. But he knows who the guy is, and he's seen him play, and he understands his airness and the greatness. And it's not just because of Space Jam. There is not a planet in which, and I love Michael B. Jordan. I already said that once already. Love the guy. Love the actor. There's not a world. By the way, Killmonger, one of my favorite bad guys in the whole MCU. He was incredible. All right? There's not a world where Michael B. Jordan gets to a point that, let's see, it's 2026, kid's 7 years old. I'm doing the math. That in 2065, which is the same distance from my nephew to Michael Jordan as it would be from today to late Michael B. Jordan, goes, Dad, can you buy me a Michael B. Jordan shirt? It's never going to happen. But my 7-year-old nephew, who, again, not alive for Mike's last shot, was like, Uncle Rob, can I have a Michael Jordan jersey and a pair of Jordans to match? And, of course, I went, yeah, I'll give you $300 freaking so that you can wear a pair of Jordans you're going to outgrow in 7 months, because that's how much we love Michael Jordan, people.
That is fair. That is fair. All right, last question. St. Patty's Day coming up, baby. It is tomorrow. My question for you simply is this, Rob Brown. Do you think Americans go too hard on other countries' holidays? Because, the Chicago dyeing the river green. Everybody's in amateur hour when it comes to Cinco de Mayo and St. Patty's Day. Like, do you think we go too hard for other countries' wonderful, wonderful holidays?
No, I do.
I like it.
And I'm gonna give you 2 thoughts here, Deck. The first is, no, we don't, because I wish we could get back to, and I feel like we lost this, and I don't know when it happened. Mm-hmm. I think we should go back to having fun being like a core conceptual point of being an American, right? Like, we used to be all about fun. Like, everything was built around fun and having fun and being fun. And now it's like we can't help but try to ruin things with not fun things, right? Like, we just have this desire to ruin everything for everybody else. But number 2, what is it to be quintessentially American? The concept of the melting pot has been at our core from the very beginning, right? And the melting pot only works if everyone in the melting pot respects and appreciates everybody else that's in the melting pot and what they brought to the melting pot, right? So it's one thing to kind of do the stereotypical Irish thing or the stereotypical Mexican thing on Cinco de Mayo or whatever. But if we could all learn to actually appreciate the elements of those cultures that make up the melting pot and carry them beyond that day and recognize that every culture kind of brings some awesome shit to the table every now and then, I feel like we'd all be better off for it, dude, because I got to tell you, your boy on Tuesday is going to be sitting. Now, I am Irish. In fairness, I am Irish.
As am I. Well,
when
I'm a
your boy
mutt,
gets
but
off
I
of
am
work on
Irish.
Tuesday, Deck, there's a bottle of Tullamore Dew sitting on the bar in there that's going to be defeated in celebration that evening. All right.
Can you drink some Irish whiskey that is not battery acid?
No, the spirit of my ancestors requires pain to drink. Deck. That's kind of part of the whole thing.
Oh, that's a pop of whiskey.
I'm also going to tell you, there's a bottle of Blanco in there when we get to Cinco de Mayo, and I'll be cooking up a little street taco outside.
I'm on board with that, but Blanco, bro, you're punishing yourself. You know there is wonderful Irish single malts and fantastic añejos for Cinco de Mayo you could be drinking.
Decker, while I am no longer Catholic, I grew up Irish Catholic, and I was taught that if you're not suffering and feeling guilty, you're not doing it right. That's what I.
That's fair. Sorry, you're right. You're right. Okay, well, just so you know, Scott PA asked the question, do they even celebrate in Ireland? Thought it was kind of a Cinco de Mayo that way, just Americans celebrate. They do celebrate, but I will admit I have a lot of Irish friends that do wonder why we celebrate so hard.
If I may, it is because, once again, for a very long time, one of the core tenets of being American is have fun. We were always over the top. We were always larger than life. And we wanted to have fun more than we wanted anything else on planet Earth. And for some effing reason, we all decided a handful of years ago that, no, I don't want other people to have fun. I'm going to ruin all of it. And it sucks, dude, because it's great. I will tell you this. I am also Irish. I have family in Ireland, and they have told me it's kind of like spring break. We all wanted to go to Panama City Beach or Myrtle Beach and like have that experience one time. Irish people, to some degree, are fascinated to the point that there used to be a mass influx of folks from Dublin who would fly to the States for St. Patrick's Day every year. And now they're just not, because we just don't let each other have fun anymore, and it's pissing me off, Decker.
All right, that is it for the quick hitters. Let's get back to the sports of it all real quick, because congratulations, Seattle. Basketball's coming back, baby. The Seattle Supersonics look like they're going to make their return along with another expansion team out of Las Vegas. Shams Charania does report this morning, and I'll just make it very, very simple, Rob Brown. Did we get it right? Are these the two right cities the NBA should be expanding in? I'll just go ahead and give you my take. Yes, both are correct. I think both have been written in the stars. Seattle never should have lost their team to begin with. Vegas seemed like it was always going to happen. The T-Mobile Arena is already built. It's ready to go. Makes sense to me, dude. Injected in my veins. Seattle Supersonics. Let's go, Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with that. Listen, we can go all day down the nostalgia rabbit trail of watching Sean Kemp and the Supersonics back in the day, and I'll have as much fun drinking a beer and doing that as anybody. But at the end of the day, it's a great sports town. The Sonics have been gone for how effing long, and that they still rep the Seattle Supersonics back in the day. So Seattle absolutely should be, no questions asked, market number one. I'll say this: I get, if I had skin in the game, I get why Vegas is the next pick. I mean, it's the most traveled to city in America. It's right for, oh, hey, it's Thursday night, I'm hammered, drunk, and the Pelicans are in town. Let's go watch an NBA game. But let me ask you this, Deck. And the Raiders notwithstanding, because they have the legacy of the Raiders, but an expansion team in the NBA would not. Do you think it would be tougher to field, not to field a team, but do you think it would be tougher to get free agents to come to Vegas? Because it will be the one NBA city that does not have a home field. There's not a home court advantage in Vegas. You are talking about a huge chunk of your crowd that are going to travel there to watch their team play. A huge chunk that are just there in Vegas, and it's a basketball game, so I'm going to go, but I don't really have a dog in that proverbial fight. And the people who would be NBA fans in Vegas are mostly service industry folks who aren't going to be able to pay ticket prices consistently and have to work. That's why they live in Las Vegas. The Raiders came with the legacy of the Oakland/LA Raiders. A new team in the NBA. Man, do you want to go play for an NBA team where you know that you are going to have 0 of 82 games where you have a distinct home court advantage?
Hear me out on this. Just hear me out on this. I hear what your point is, and it's not, I don't think it's entirely unfounded. I really don't. I can see it that way, but I also want to make the counter argument. The Golden Knights are a really hot ticket in that town in Las Vegas, and they're already in the T-Mobile Arena, and they have one hell of a local fan base. I don't think it's out of the realm that Vegas supports their basketball team right out the gate. It worked for the NHL, which I firmly didn't think it would, and it did immediately. I think Vegas is a much more ripe for the picking than we're giving it credit for, but I hear what you're saying about the industry people, the amount of people that'll be coming in. I think at the end of the day, the organization just needs to make money. One, they're going to make a shit ton of money on Las Vegas merch, period, stop. Then they're going to make a shit ton of money because they're going to sell out every single game, because you did just mention how many people are going to be flying into Vegas. I think this is just a ready-made winner, despite Vegas not making as much money as it used to be. I'm more worried, believe it or not, of the Oakland A's going to Vegas than I am an expansion NBA team going to Vegas, because the Oakland A's simply don't have the cachet right now or the goodwill from anybody, including their own fandom, to really support it. But I hope to be wrong, by the way.
So it's funny because I'm almost the opposite way around. It is the lack of goodwill towards Jeff Fisher and the A's that made me think they are the team to go there. Because let's start with this. First off, you put a new city in a new town, or you put a new team in a new town. That team is not, that town is not going to look and be like, oh, those poor folks from Oakland got hosed, therefore I won't be a fan. Yeah, you will. You're going to go, hell yeah, I got a baseball stadium in my backyard. I'm going to every game. Are you kidding me? Number two, the difference here is when, say, hypothetically, the Atlanta Braves play their first season series against Las Vegas at Las Vegas, Cody Decker, it ain't going to take me much at all to tell the wife, pack the bags, we're flying to Vegas, and I'm going to go watch Braves baseball while you go throw some money down at the blackjack table, and let's make it a weekend. We'll go see some shows. We'll go eat some food. We'll go do a little gambling. I'm going to go watch Braves A's at the stadium, because while I mean it when I say my heart is broken for Oakland fans and the way that they got bent over the barrel sans lubrication by the ownership of the A's in MLB, also, the very first time the Braves are in Vegas, I'm using that as an excuse to fly there and spend way too much damn money to go to that game, especially if that stadium turns out to be as nice as they've made it look in the concepts. I think they're fine. In fact, I think baseball would be even better, because when the Braves go out there, Deck, I'm getting a 3 or 4 game series out of that. I'm making it a whole thing. If the Pelicans go to Las Vegas, they're playing one night. It's probably going to be on a Tuesday. I can't build a vacation around that. I damn sure can when I know the Braves are going to play 4 games there, one series. I can build a whole thing around it, and I'm buying 4 games worth of tickets. I don't know if that makes sense, but it does to me.
That is fair. That is fair. All right, getting back over to the NFL real quick. There was some breaking news today. Congratulations, KC. You got your guy. Justin Fields over to Kansas City. Do you feel anything about this, considering the fact that Patrick Mahomes is still, as of now, slated to start week 1, barring something crazy happening? Can I give you my take real quick?
I mean, your show. It'd be weird if you didn't. I
like the move. Believe it or not, this is not a game-changing move. There's a chance Fields doesn't see the field one time. However, because of Fields' skill set, and I firmly believe this, and based on how I'm seeing what the NFL is currently doing, it seems like everybody is starting to figure this portion out when it comes to starting and backup QBs. You need a guy that's similar to your starting QB. You know how many times we've been seeing these like pocket QBs backing up for all these running quarterbacks, and it's just a completely different scheme, and it's just kind of wild? Justin Fields, he's not Patrick Mahomes. Let's be real clear. I'm aware he is not Patrick Mahomes. But if you're going to have a backup, he at least has a similar skill set to Patrick Mahomes.
Deck, I don't know if you can hear me, but we lost your audio out here. Nope, lost audio. Yeah, we'll see. So give Deck a second to reset. I see where he was going, for the record. From a much deeper football stance, totally agree. Completely agree. I have never understood why a team would have a mobile quarterback, a scrambling quarterback, and back him up with a pocket passer quarterback, or the opposite, right? Fields to back up Mahomes makes perfect sense, similar style of ball. But I'm going to take you down another path, and this is something I've been screaming into microphones for as long as I've been a broadcaster. I think too many times we have seen teams go get their future franchise quarterback, do nothing to little to develop them, then throw them into the fire, and then we all get shocked that it didn't work out. Point here is, if there's a failure of a franchise quarterback, sometimes we should blame the franchise and not the quarterback. Case in point, Baker Mayfield, who traveled around the league, went to a bunch of crap teams, ended up in Tampa, wins a handful of divisional titles, makes a couple of playoff runs. Sam Darnold, who got started off with the Jets, ended up in Carolina, garbage-ass franchises, and then would you look at that, gets to Minnesota, gets to a spot that understands it, coaches to him. Now, all of a sudden, Sam Darnold's got a Super Bowl ring on. There are a number of quarterbacks, especially in recent memory, who started with a franchise. The franchise stinks. They get blamed for everything.
Testing.
We got you now, Deck.
Yeah!
They,
Cool.
So to finish the thought, then I'll hand it back to Cody here. Deck, too many times we blame the franchise, not the quarterback, or we blame the quarterback and not the franchise and franchise quarterback. And between Darnold and Mayfield and some of these guys we've seen move, I got to tell you, I really think Justin Fields might be next in line because he went to a bum of a franchise. Then he went to a spot he had no business. Then he ends up with the Jets, who have – how many of these quarterbacks went through New York and blew it all up? Like, I got to tell you, Andy Reid understands how to use a quarterback like Justin Fields. I'm not saying that he will even see the field this year. What I'm saying is we're going to see, specifically in the preseason, I think, what Justin Fields can do with a coach who understands, with a system that works, and actually being developed instead of just thrown into the fire to be the savior of whatever team that already stank. That's why they drafted a quarterback in the first place. I'm actually cautiously optimistic. We might actually see Justin Fields look as good as he's ever been without making a single start. We'll see, because he's in a spot that understands how to cater to the quarterback instead of demanding the quarterback cater to them.
Bro, couldn't agree more. I absolutely like the move. It makes sense to me. He fits the scheme. I don't know if it's going to mean any extra wins for this team, but I don't hate the move. All right, let's go ahead and switch it over to time for us to shiggle. Hey, let's shiggle. All right, my shiggle is actually about the Oscars last night, because I don't know if you guys have heard of this actress. She was nominated for an Oscar last night, Tiana Taylor. Tiana Taylor, who I've had the luxury of meeting Rob Brown. She was in the movie The Rip, directed by friend of the show and actually former guest co-host of this show, Joe Carnahan. Rob Brown, she's a very fine young actress. She was nominated for an Oscar for One Battle After Another, but here's my shiggle. Whatever drugs she had last night, I need. I don't know what this woman was on. She was feeling good. So much so when she didn't win the Oscar, she jumped up and went ape shit and cheered as if the U.S. just won the WBC and she was on the team. When you saw director Paul Thomas Anderson go out there, she's just going ape shit, doing cartwheels. She puts her arm around him, puts him in a headlock. It was, I'm not going to lie to you, bro. It was fucking weird. I just want to know what she was on. I'm glad she had a great time. And she looked stunning. But what drugs was she on? I need some.
I get it, man. I got to tell you, I've tried to stay high on life routine for 41 years, but the more into my 40s I get, the less high on life I'm capable of being in a given moment. So, I totally get it. I'm gonna lean on the shig side of shiggles here, with a take that I break out every year, right around this time, and it gets a lot of heat back from an audience, Deck, and yet I don't care because I'm right. The NCAA tournament is getting started on Thursday. I'm actually quite excited. I'm here in Greenville, South Carolina. We have the first and second round. One of the regional sites is right here in Greenville. We've got Duke coming down. I've got Duke and North Carolina here. I've got Ohio State here. I've got some squads in my home stadium here. The NCAA tournament is absolutely an electric event. There is no doubt that it is one of America's favorite sporting events every year. It is also a totally shit way to pick a national champion when it's all said and done. All right? It's just a bad way to pick a champ. All right? Series are the way to go. And this is why. And now the second part is where you're all going to get to see an eye roll out of Cody Decker. Maybe we'll see. because he shocked the hell out of me last week saying he wants to get more into U.S. soccer after I spent 4.5 effing years trying to talk him into it. So we'll see if his opinions change here. Decker, the NCAA tournament, electric event, shit way to pick a champion. The best postseason in all of sports is college baseball, and college basketball should replicate their postseason, not the other way around. Business stood on.
I thoroughly disagree with you.
I know you would. I know you would.
By the way, I love the College World Series. I think the College World Series is a great tournament. I think how they do the College World Series from the regional to the super regional into Omaha is fantastic. I don't care if it's a shit way to pick a champion. Knockout rounds are badass. I know that because I'm watching it right now in the WBC and I'm loving it. I know it's not the right way to pick a champion. I don't give a shit. It's great. I just don't want them to expand it. I just don't. I just keep it the way it is. Yeah, I know they're gonna because of money, but I love it.
Yeah,
I do love it.
If you ever have a question about will they or won't they when it comes to sports, specifically college sports, but the NFL, NBA, MLB as well, if you're ever like, would they do this thing? Just ask yourself the question, will it make them more money? Because if the answer is yes, then the answer is yes, they're going to do the thing.
Guys,
I'm with you.
Guys,
It's already watered down enough, and I'm glad. Like, we got enough room for the mid-majors, and I'm glad to, like, the Furman Paladins right here in town. They're going dancing because they won the Southern Conference. I'm glad we had room to get Miami, Ohio in. I think it's a joke that they were the last team in, but we'll talk about that in another time. The point of all of this is a single elimination 68-team tournament is more often than not going to result in the best basketball team winning it. It's going to result in the hottest basketball team who had a moment or two of luck to win it. Baseball eliminates that. You got to go on. You got you got regionals, you've got super regionals, then you've got a double elimination in Omaha, and then a 3-game series for the final. It eliminates the possibility that a team gets hot and has 1 or 2 lucky bounces of the ball and it wins them a championship, and emphasizes the best team winning the championship, which should be the goal. March Madness, electric. I'm going to be sitting down from 12:15 on Thursday until the final hits, and we all hear one shining moment one more time again, but it's a shit way to pick a champion, and I stand on that.
You're not entirely wrong. I don't care. They can't change it. That being said, there's another thing you said that actually, like, you know how earlier we were talking about the ABS system? You're right. If there's a way for somebody to make money, they'll do it. Why do you think we have an ABS system, challenge system this year? So this challenge can be brought to you by T-Mobile. Not so we can get the calls right. It's all about money, people. It's always about money. This show has been badass, Rob Brown, because it's always badass when you're joining me on this show. I love it, as I loved it on Bet for the Cycle for the 4 years we did it there, and I always love you doing this with me here on Beadle and Decker. Hey, what do you say you and I reflect? Reflections. Rob Brown, this is what I'm reflecting on. I'm going to keep it kind of simple. I've mentioned on the show multiple times my favorite movies of all time. And of course, last night we had the Oscars. And I don't know how it didn't kind of dawn on me. I think it dawned on me last night when I was watching the Oscars, the In Memoriam segment. And I actually got a little teary-eyed. The Catherine O'Hara mention was beautiful. The Rob Reiner tribute was beautiful. And of course, the Robert Redford tribute at the end was beautiful. And God, Barbara Streisand came out. She said a little thing. She sang at the end, which was lovely. But I will say this. My favorite movie of all time, the movie that made me love baseball as a young child, was a movie called The Natural. And I don't know how I just didn't realize it last night, but during In Memoriam, first I saw Michael Madsen's name, who I have met before. Michael Madsen did a lot of poetry readings, specifically in Venice. So I used to go to his poetry readings when I was in high school. And I've gotten to meet him a couple of times, talking to him about The Natural and play his portrayal of Bump Bailey. And he liked that because he was just like, man, nobody brings up The Natural to me anymore. They only want to talk to me about Reservoir Dogs. So yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up. And first it was him, and then it was Robert Duvall, who was also astonishing in The Natural. And then watching it at the end with Robert Redford, who, again, an incredible portrayal in The Natural. Seeing all of these incredible, astonishing actors who passed away in my favorite movie of all time. And then, of course, Rob Reiner, who directed and produced one of my favorite movies of all time as well, in The Princess Bride. Last night's In Memoriam hit me probably harder than any In Memoriam I've ever experienced. And They usually don't hit me like that, but that one did.
I get it. You know, there's a list of celebrities that I think kind of reach this level where they matter to us for more than their work, right? Because something resonates with us, and when they pass, it can be shocking. I'm a big Robin Williams fan, always have been. And
man.
In fact, I have a poster that hangs in my office that is an animated cell of every character Robin Williams ever played, from the genie in Aladdin all the way down. And it's a Robin Williams quote. We're all just given one little spark of insanity. We mustn't lose it. Because I love that. It resonated with me. And when Robin Williams passed away, especially when we really learned all that was going on in the backdrop of Robin Williams' life, which obviously he made it a goal to keep us separated from so we could enjoy his work. It kind of hit me. Crocodile Hunter, another one of those guys, like huge Crocodile Hunter fan growing up because of his, not just his work in conservation, but just the attitude he always brought to his work. I appreciated that. When those guys, and especially as was just said in the comments, like as we get older and we're a little bit closer to our own mortality than maybe we were back in the day, it can be a bit of a gut punch, especially when you have somebody like Duvall who had these movies that, you know, as a sports fan, a lot of them resonated with me, and I get that. So yeah, no, I think that I think that all of us have had that experience every now and then.
Mm-hmm. Rob Brown, what are you reflecting on?
You know, this is something that I would dice up, and I feel like it's going to be short of a speech that you would give to elementary schoolers. But I also think sometimes we need a reminder. This past weekend, I went out with a handful of friends, and I won't get too into the weeds on it, but I went out and we tried. We went to a gin bar, Cody Decker. Now, I'm not. I know. I knew that would be the reaction. I'm
not a gin guy either.
I hate it. I don't understand it. Right?
It's cologne to me.
Yes, I have said for years. It tastes like you're licking a plant. And people go, wait a minute, Rob, have you tried the floral? Yeah, it tastes like I'm licking a flower. Well, have you tried the oak? Yeah, it tastes like I'm licking a tree. Like, you're just asking me to lick different plants. But I understand there were people in the room who genuinely like gin. The point that I'm making is, people, you're going to do a lot better when you do two things. Number one, stop pretending that you like things just because a lot of other people like the thing. It's okay to go, hey, it's great that you like that thing. I don't like that thing. It's not for me. I'm never going back to a gin bar. All gin sucks to me. I don't care if you like it. I'm just saying it's not for me. But on the flip side, when you do like something, go try stuff till you find out the stuff that you like, man. Because like, I don't like gin. I knew going to the gin bar I wasn't going to like gin. But I tried some stuff I never had before just in case any of it hit. It didn't. It all sucks. It all tastes, again, like licking a plant. But like, I was willing to try. Point is here, come out of your shell a little bit. I had a dear friend of mine 2 weeks ago, came to a local hockey game. Had never been around hockey, never seen it. I brought him, gave him a couple of tickets, put him on the ice. That guy today is now calling me like, hey, when's the next game? I want to come back. People, try new stuff. Because I promise you, if you try new stuff, and back to our holiday conversation, start to appreciate stuff that comes from other cultures and other parts of the world that maybe you're not familiar with, your life's going to be a hell of a lot better. But if you don't like something, don't pretend that you do just because it's popular.
I like that. I love that. A great PSA from the great Rob Brown. Guys, this has been another fun show. Rob Brown, having you on here, just one, it's like open up the yearbook, and it's just always a blast. And thank you for sitting in, Michelle, especially on short notice the way you did. Rob Brown, you are a classy gent. And yes, make sure you follow Rob Brown on all social medias, because Rob Brown will be back on the radio again, unquestionably. The man is just too gosh darn talented. Again, 3-time broadcaster of the year out of South Carolina. That's my guy. Rob, is there anything you want to leave the people with?
No, I appreciate you lying to all their faces like that on my behalf. Cody Decker means the world to me. Thank you guys for having me at The Rob Brown Show on social media. I got a bunch of stuff cooking probably towards the end of next month we got some projects we're working on. So stay tuned.
I love it. Rob Brown, always great to have you on Beadle and Decker, and always just great to have you in general. My man, I lied for you, and I will continue to do it till the day I die. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Beadle and Decker. We'll be back here again live tomorrow. Tyrone Johnson here on Tyrone Tuesday, and then, of course, Michelle Beadle rejoining us on Wednesday, and then Thursday, Jen Piacenti, and Friday, you'll just have to wait and find out, but it's going to be somebody great. Guys, this has been Beadle and Decker, and if there's one thing I can say to you as always, make sure you take this with you all the way till you go to sleep tonight. R.I.P. Estelle Getty.